If you wasn't invited, don't ask to go. What's going on, y'all? It's your boy FRE, $H Fresh at the Flyboy Way. That's TheFlyBoy. Don't ask why, just check out the channel. And we are back with another live, y'all. If we didn't invite you, don't ask to go. Why is it so many people, no matter what circumstance is going on, they don't understand there's a thin line between people who are fear-mongering something and when something is trying to show you a sign and you just are not reading the room correctly. Welcome to Town Hall. If you haven't known, this has been a podcast I've done for a long time. Every now and then when something comes up, especially if something comes up over and over again, I feel like we need to have these conversations with just the people of the different communities I'm in. I'm in the Black community, I'm in the travel community, I'm in the finance community, I'm in the family community, the father community. Like, it's so many different communities I'm in that every time there's something of a point or a need for a conversation, I feel like, hey, let's just have a conversation, more laid back, not as organized as we usually do. Just gonna have a laid back conversation. And in this conversation, I think we have to discuss, I guess, the elephant in the room. When a country, let's cut that out because a lot of people are saying country. When a city is showing you over time that for whatever reason, at this point in the city's history, they do not really want a certain type of image being shown. Just because you can make money off of it doesn't mean they're going to exclude you out of that image. And I feel like that's just one aspect of people who don't understand. If you wasn't invited, don't ask to go. I'm going to start with this elephant in the room because I feel as though there's other conversations. We're going to get to the elephant. We're going to get to the don't ask to be with a woman who's showing you she's not going to be there for you in the States. We're going to get to don't depend on a job that is not showing you that is going to keep you around with all these people getting laid off and things changing. Don't depend on one source of income. We're going to get into all of that, but we got to start with the elephant in the room. Medellin is my second favorite place to go in Colombia. My first is Barranquilla. I spent multiple trips. I've been going to Colombia since 2019. I've been going to Medellin since 2021. I've spent multiple times going to Medellin in 2024. I have not been back to Medellin since. Why? Because I read the room. I understand right now, for whatever reason, there is some type of political situation that they have to handle before it's worth risking going. When I say risking going, this is what I mean. It's only a small percentage of people who are getting detained and told and sent back home in Colombia as a total. 90% of those people who get sent back home are getting sent back home from Medellin. 90%. Of that 90%, like 75% are either influencers, Black, or don't have an itinerary of what they're going to do aside from go party in Medellin. There's a thin line between fear-mongering, saying that, yo, Colombia doesn't want Black people. Colombia doesn't want this type of person. Colombia doesn't want this type of person. And to the reading the room of right now, Medellin is doing something that They are trying to work out within themselves. And if you keep coming over here trying to make money by selling certain things or promoting certain things that they're trying to figure out right now, they're going to keep smacking you and smacking you and smacking you. If they didn't invite you, don't ask to go. This year I've been to Bogota. I've been to San Andreas. I've been to Minca, Colombia. I've been to Barranquilla 3 or 4 times. I've been to Santa Marta, Colombia. I'm getting ready to go to Cali, Colombia. There are so many other places in Colombia where people can go and get a vibe or whatever vibe they want, where the room is not telling you, hey, we don't want this vibe. We're trying to figure it out. There's so many other places in Colombia where they're telling you, hey, we're not trying to figure it out. But people don't read the room, and they keep going back to the same exact place with the same exact plan. If you wasn't invited, don't ask to go. When a city, not a country, shows you that they're beefing up security for a particular reason that has been linked to a lot of people getting sent back, that's the opposite of an invitation. Common sense, but it's not too common. Understandable. So we're gonna get back to Medellin, but let's go over to Kenya. So you watch different groups in Kenya tell you all this stuff about, I guess, passport bros. I don't consider myself passport bro. I don't see nothing wrong with what some of them do. I don't see nothing wrong with the name. People trying to live like they live. It's just not for me. I've been traveling for a long time. I've been doing content before any of this ever existed. But if you know, I kid you not, welcome to the town hall if you just joined in. If you know common sense that there are locations like Kenya, like Medellin, like other places that are having a problem and they're attaching it, whether it's fair or unfair, to the name Passport Bro. Why the hell would you put Passport Bros on your Instagram? Why the hell would you put Passport Bros on your YouTube? Why the hell would you do this if you have common sense and you like a place? There's a thin line between fear-mongering, what a lot of people do, and reading the goddamn room of what's going on. Now, I haven't been to Kenya yet. I can't tell you what's really going on. But what I can tell you on a worldly basis, based on history, that Black people, as a universal basis, we're not talking about Black United States citizens. We're talking on a universal basis. Black people have been put in a certain category of poverty. That has been the narrative of history. The narrative of history. If you do your research, you will always see the negative aspects and the poverty aspects of Black people. Black Americans are killing that narrative because as United States citizens, we got money. What do you think a country does not want to see in their country? Or a city, not even the whole country, just a city or certain cities or certain people in their country. They don't want to see anything that goes against the narrative of history. They don't. Vice made an entire documentary on Passport Bros. The majority of people in that documentary were European or white. 2 people, I believe, Ozzy Osbourne and Austin, were Black in that whole documentary, the leader of what they said was white or European. And now that name is attached to just black men traveling, which, hey, you call me whatever you want to call me. I don't even care. I'm going to do what I'm going to do regardless. But I read the room. I read the room. If you weren't invited, don't ask to go. I hope one day I'll be able to go back to Medellin and just enjoy myself. Cool. I am making plans to be able to do that. But I know for certain right now, this is not the time. I can read the room. But it doesn't mean that's the whole Colombia. That's the fear-mongering aspect of it. I know that right now, Kenya is pointing out to certain creators to say, hey, this is all of you guys, and they're attaching that under this. Well, maybe that's not the part of Africa you should go right now. You see, we as Black Americans, and this is the Black American community I'm talking about, we have an issue of supporting what is obviously saying right now, I'm not saying forever, is going against us. I'm going to get to y'all comments, y'all. We have a issue of going to a restaurant, we have an issue as Black, and not really just Blacks, most Americans, but mostly Black Americans. We have an issue of a store says they don't want us. A Gucci store, a Louis Vuitton store say they don't want us. We like, well, we're going to come in anyway, and we're going to buy out the whole store. What sense does that make? We're using our economical prowess, our economical abilities to go somewhere and support somewhere that doesn't want us. Right now, you see, and this is my opinion, right now, you see what's happening in Medellin, right? What they're beefing up during the flower festival, where they're pointing out people, they're making examples out of people, whether it's fair or unfair, they're making examples out of people to say, hey, watch yourself, because if you come here, you're risking this. When there's a whole place that's dedicated to Black or Pacifico place in Cali, Colombia, that's dedicated to Black people who want to go there and enjoy the culture. Why am I not reading the room and saying, hey, okay, I'm not going to go to Prada and I'm not going to go to the flower festival and spend all my money because I'm going to go there and spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. I'm going to take my money. I'm going to go to Cali, Colombia, and I'm going to spend it with Petronio is, with the Pacifico people. I'm going to have a great time getting involved with their culture. Maybe meeting some nice women. Maybe interacting with my homies that live there, that have wives there, that have businesses there. The people I've met from Colombia who go there every year. Because I'm not getting that same you're not invited feeling as you would be in Medellin. But the fear-mongers keep telling you it's Colombia, and it's not. It's not the whole Kenya. It's not the whole South Africa. It's not the whole Brazil. It's just certain parts. But we as a Black people have this issue, even in the States, the matrix mentality where we want to prove somebody wrong so bad that we're going to go there and to get all jammed up. I'm going to read y'all comments now. But the next thing I'm going to say is, if you wasn't invited, don't ask to go. Don't ask to go. If you weren't appreciated where your money is spent, don't ask to go. And don't listen to fear-mongers who tell you it's a whole country, when right now it's just a certain city, and that's only a temporary time. Because this by far has got to be the loudest noise that most people are not reading. So let me get to y'all comments, y'all. Again, welcome to Town Hall. If you wasn't invited, don't ask to go. Shout out to Passport Privilege in the room. Viva Colombia. Oh my God. Nvidious, what up? What up? He said PP forever. Big LA, what up? What up? What up? What it do? What it do? Kenya Porter, what's up? What's going on? ETS, what's good? What's good? Nvidia said the passport bros like the sun coming up. It's inevitable. Okay. Big LA, dudes never learn, man. It's life, man. It's life. The sliced bread. They don't want y'all in Medellin, but y'all still go. I mean, to each his own. Like, I'm not even going to say they don't even want you, Medellin. I'm just going to say right now, you got to read the room. And if you're not reading the room, hey, good luck. Shout out to Roller goddamn Tape. Welcome back, Roller Tape. I ain't seen Roller Tape since I was down in Atlanta, yo. Shout out to Roller Tape in the building, yo. Make sure to subscribe to this channel. Hopefully he's coming back with content. Raleigh Joe, what up, what up, what up? Maybe the same reason DMX couldn't stay away from crack. Okay, let me. I understand what he said by that, so let me try to explain it for those who don't. A lot of brothers, and we're going to get to the topic of the women in the United States. We're going to get to the topic of jobs and things like that. That's going down. We're going to get to those topics because if all falls in line with the if you ain't invited, don't ask to go. But an addiction is something that you do over and over and you can't stop yourself. A lot of men and women sometimes, regardless what country, is it Thailand, Brazil, Colombia, they go there for the first time and they get an addiction of the place because it's so different from everything they knew in the United States. And a lot of them end up going for the first time at 30, at 40, at 50. So they created whoever they're going to be, and now they have an addiction for either the first or second country they go to. So they keep going, but it's not even a country. It's literally just the city they go to. When they go to Thailand, they go to Pattaya. They get an addiction for Pattaya. When they go to Colombia, they go to Medellin. They get an addiction for Medellin. When they go to Brazil, they go to Rio. They get an addiction for Rio. And then they say the whole country is great. And anything that happens to them in Rio, anything that happens to them in Medellin, anything that happens to them in Pattaya, they then speak on the whole country, but they only been to this one place, or they only frequent this one place. They have not stayed for a significant amount of time in Barranquilla. They have not stayed for a significant amount of time in Cali, a significant amount of time in Bogota. They have not stayed in Sao Paulo. They have not stayed in Salvador Bahia. They have not stayed in Phuket. They have not stayed in Bangkok. So they're giving you this fear-mongering thought on a whole country based on the addiction they have to a city. There's a thin line between fear-mongering and reading the room. Understanding that if you wasn't invited, don't ask to go. NVIDIA said, never been to Colombia. The fact that it's the most famous person is a killer and drug dealers don't sit well with you. You got to understand, it's not the fact that he was one of the most famous people was a killer and a drug dealer. It's the money. It's the fact that the amount of money he made was more than anyone else in the history of that country that I know. I don't know anyone else who's made that much money. Because if he was just a killer and he just killed everybody, he wouldn't have gotten as much praise. But learning the history from the actual people who lived there, the infrastructure of Medellin wouldn't be what it was without Pablo and what he did. Never. Barranquilla, Cartagena, Santa Marta, they're port cities. Port cities make the most money because they can get in and out of trade. Things cost more within the country versus, let me give you an example of the United States. Things cost more in New York than they do in Florida. Why? Because a lot of stuff flies into the port of Florida. Things cost more in New York than they do in New Jersey. Why? Because New Jersey also has a port. Anything that has right by the stuff is going to be a lot less because it has access to the port and trade is a lot easier. Had Pablo not existed and there never been that much money pushed into the structural economy of Medellin wouldn't be nowhere near Cartagena. It wouldn't be nowhere near Bogota. It wouldn't be nowhere near Barranquilla, simply because of location. So again, when I tell you, like, he's not known for the killer aspect of it, he's known for the amount of money, and that money is always the same thing around the world. It's the same thing around the world. What's going on, Terrence Hill? Raleigh Joe, me neither. Not interested in South. Listen again. I don't blame people who say they're not interested in going to Medellin because they think it's dangerous. I'm not, or going to Colombia, sorry, because they think it's dangerous. I don't blame anybody who thinks Brazil is super dangerous. There's been enough people who fearmonger things based on their experience in just one city that it overpopulates the thought of the people who go to multiple cities who are showing you that even within the country you have multiple different cultures. Let me give you an example for people who can understand. There's going to be a lot of people who are minorities in here. There might be some white people in here or European people in here, white people from the United States. Let me give you an example in the United States. As a black man, I'm never going to Alabama. I'm never going to Mississippi. Let me not say never. Let me knock on wood. It's most likely I'm never going to Alabama. It's most likely I'm never going to Mississippi. But I'll be in New York. I'll be in LA. I'll be in Miami and Florida. I'll be in New Jersey. Why? Because I know the history of what happened in Alabama. I know what the history of what happened in Mississippi. It's the same thing for Medellin, like right now. But people can't see that. Just because Alabama might not be great for black people, you're going to tell me the whole United States isn't? Just because Mississippi might not be better, might be good for black people, you're going to tell me the whole United States isn't? But it's so easy on a worldly basis because people can't connect it to how easy it is to say, yo, it's the same thing in the United States. It's the same thing, bro. I am not going to some parts of Georgia. I'm not. My family, my ancestors are from here. One side is Native American, the other side is Black American. They are from here, and Georgia. They're from Shimhurst or something like that, Georgia. My great-great-grandfather had to escape Georgia by getting in a casket and coming up here, where he met my great-grandmother. And if I know that, there are going to be parts of Georgia I'm not going to. But that doesn't mean that the whole state of Georgia is bad. That doesn't mean that the whole United States is bad. But we can't equate, a lot of people can't equate that to Medellin and Colombia. A lot of people can't equate that to Brazil. They can't equate that to South Africa. They can't equate that to Kenya. They can't equate that to all these other places. To say, yo, okay, I'm not going to that city right now, but I'm not going to fearmonger the country. I'm not going to that town right now, but I'll go to another one. Again, man, I'm still reading your comments, so bear with me. And then after I read your comments, we'll move over to the woman thing in the United States. I can only speak on the United. Well, I can speak in Colombia too because I date in Colombia also. But I'm going to speak on the United States because I think, again, that's when people most understand. Shout out to R Dub. R Dub said, "Not worth going to. Oh, not worth it going there right now." I tell people to read the room. But again, let me see. Let me see. Flyboy telling the truth about itinerary stuff. They pulled me aside in Madagascar and asked me what I plan to do while I was there. Luckily, I had a list of activities besides ladies. Again, man. Pull up with stick says rest in peace, PB. On Passport Rose. Passport Privilege says get the likes up. I appreciate that. I read your comments because sometimes the comments don't show up after the live is over. So I want people to know who said what and what they said. If you're going somewhere, have an itinerary besides partying. I think so. Now you don't always have to have it written down. Like you don't have to have it on like I gotta do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. But you have to be able to explain to them what you're gonna do. For example, if they ask me what I'm gonna do when I go to Cali, Colombia, I'm gonna say I'm going to meet up with my friend who lives down here. I'm also going to go to Petronio Alvarez Music Festival. I'm also going to go to Vici, a restaurant that I like going to with the famous singer. I'm also going to go to Vale Pacifico, which is a great restaurant I like before. I'm also going to go here, and I'm also going to go here. So I'm going to be able to tell them all that stuff. I'm not going to sit there like, I don't know. Again, read the room, yo. Shout out to Brooklyn GQ in a minute. What up? Riley Joe says, over on your channel, the Flyboy, You got a good thing going. Again, that's why you never see me really going into conversation about stuff that people are having a problem with, unless I'm doing something like this where I'm giving you guys a solution. Not even just talking about the problem, because it's so easy to grow when you talk about the problem. But when you give a solution, it's a little bit more difficult. So I'm telling you an issue that's happening right now, and I'm giving people a solution who still want to go to Colombia and enjoy the beauty, who still want to enjoy the culture, who still want to enjoy the women, who still want to enjoy the things to do. I'm giving you options, and I'm telling you, listen, there's a big difference from fear-mongering and reading the room. Well, y'all, my lady friend is hitting me up, but I can't really do this. I gotta wait till she gotta wait till I finish. Again, y'all. He said I learned about passport roads from the Vice episode. Again, this is y'all heard me about the Vice episode, y'all. Let's see. This chat's moving fast, so I'm trying to catch up to where you guys at. I don't want to miss anybody's comments. Shout out to Swaggy Left Athletics. Playa de Carmen. Thanks for putting me on. Playa de Carmen is amazing. I like it. It's getting more expensive because people can't. Oh my God, I forgot to say, y'all. I will talk about that later. 55 in the chat, 17 likes. Again, this is not for the publicity or fame. This is just to give you guys a conversation, because this is part of the community that I'm in, and I feel like this conversation is needed. He was a billionaire. I don't know who's a billionaire. Shout out to Kings. Shout out to A1 Day One Kings and Dreams in the room. Motivational moments, bro. Latin people not really inviting us. They inviting the green. Look how their blacks in Choco and Cali are treated, man. Come on. Again, motivational movements. This is what I say. It's not a Latin thing. It's not a United States thing. It's a history around the world thing. I told you guys earlier, I don't know if you was here, but the black people around the world, when I say black, I mean melanated people, okay? When I say black, I mean United States, but on this aspect, we're talking about the universal black, and that includes melanated people, have always been the underclass of not having money, right? Imagine you have me, you have other black people who are significantly wealthy, who are now traveling to these countries, showing the culture, showing us spending money, showing us with the nice clothes on, showing us doing all this stuff, which is now inspiring black people around the world to say, hey, I thought all black people were poor. Who are these people? Who are these black people who are in our country in the wealthiest section, staying in the nicest Airbnbs, staying in the nicest apartments, nicest houses, spending money, spending $5 million on bottles in one night? If they can do that, what's stopping us? That is not something that the world wants to happen or wants to see. If you don't know why, just look in history. Just look in history. I'm not going to explain it. Just look in history. That is something that the world don't want to see. A lot of people are saying, see, the reason why y'all are getting everything messed up is because y'all keep showing everything on YouTube. Y'all keep putting everything on Instagram. Y'all keep posting everything. Why do you feel like you got to post everything? Because if you don't inspire the other people, who will? If you don't try to inspire people with your lifestyle and show them what you can do to change the history of the world, not America, not Latin America, not Asia, of what the world has put above us, then who will? And if you're not living for a purpose, then why are you living? You just want to look good. You want to gatekeep. Well, let's not say gatekeep. You want to keep everything quiet so you can do whatever you want to do, die, and then the next people that come behind you don't have any hope because you never showed anything. You never showed them that, hey, there's some places we can go where we can get a better quality of life. Wait, I don't have to work for my whole until I'm 67 years old. I can retire at 50. I can take $100,000. I can buy a condo in in Colombia. I could buy a condo in Thailand. I could buy a place in Ghana. I could buy a place in Kenya, and I don't have to. And I could live off the interest that incurs from putting my money in the S&P or putting my money in dividends, and I never have to work again, and I can live like a king. Nah. Don't share that information with the world, because then it's gonna be harder for us to be able to function. Because we don't want the Pookies and Ray Rays. We don't want the people to come over here and ruin everything. The low vibrational people. We don't want the people who never knew they had anything to see this stuff. So let's keep it all behind the closed doors. Let's keep it all behind the closed doors. Let's not say anything. But then there's some of us that want to give hope to the hopeless. And I don't knock anybody for any way they see it. But one thing I realize is that no matter what the outcome of something is, like knock on wood, hopefully I never do. But if I am not able to go back to Colombia before my kid in Colombia is born, then I would just fly everything. I would fly all the Colombians back to a place I would buy in Mexico. I would fly back to a place I would buy in the DR, because I know there's options. Again, if you're not invited, don't ask to go. But one thing I won't do is I won't stop trying to inspire people who never knew there was hope, because I'm worried that it would do something to me or do something or make it harder for me to live a certain way. It's a thin line between fear-mongering and reading the room. Get your comments, y'all. Josh 35, what up? Salute. Pull up with the stick. What's going on? He said Deline. That's crazy. Riley Joe, I'm not worried about danger. I know how to avoid that. Just nothing interests me enough to visit. I can understand that. Shout out to Kings and Dreams in the building. He says, I'm going to Alabama January for Max football tournament. I am not. I understand it, but I am not. I mean, you know what I mean? R Dub say, yeah, that's true. Riley Joe, I gotta get some water. Give me a second, y'all. I'm gonna get to Riley Joe coming. I need some water. In fact, I got my Gatorade. I don't want to go too far. I got my Gatorade. It probably won't be a long live. We probably make this like an hour. Sure, I shouldn't say Gatorade. They haven't sponsored me yet. Let me see. Hold on. Yeah, I thought it was cool for a few days. Yeah. He said 21 likes from 65 people. Again, it's not really about the likes. It's about getting the message out, y'all. Hopefully somebody hear and understand it. Let me see. Been to Mississippi many times. Just stayed out of Jackson and stayed from. Hey, yo, Invidious. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Riley Joe said was just there 2 years ago. 2 weeks ago. Shout out to Show Enough in the building. What up? Shout out to Rich Wall. What up? What's good? Travel Addict. He said, I'm from the SIPP. I'm not sure what that is. Show Enough says, I see you with the Dirty Birds hat. You know, I had to rock the with the saying I had to rock the hat. Greatest football team ever. I wouldn't say that. Kite Eternal, what it do? Salute. Dana BMP. What's funny about the whole thing is that there are 1.5 million Colombian immigrants in the United States and only like 20,000 Americans in Colombia as of 2026. Again, man, a lot of this stuff, and I keep telling people, is linked to the history of the world. I was watching the video, I don't know, I think it was on O'Shea page or something like that. I was watching the video where there was a group of Kenyans saying that Black Americans are going over there and messing up a lot of stuff and doing stuff with their women. I can guarantee you there's not more than 2% of Black Americans that go to Kenya. Maybe other Africans, and maybe they think they're Americans. I can almost guarantee you, and I haven't been to Kenya. I can just look at it and say, yo, there's not more than 2% of Black Americans that go to Kenya. So that couldn't be more than what? 10,000, 5,000, 4,000 Americans in Kenya right now? It can't be Black Americans? No, not possible. because only 13% of Black Americans have passports. 13% have passports and travel internationally. So you're going to tell me the majority of that 13% is going to Kenya? Stop the cap. Stop the cap. Stop the cap. This is what I mean. However, I love Ghana. But if you read the room in Africa as a whole right now, you got to understand there's a lot of stuff going on. Even Wodemeyer, who is the most famous YouTube Black African right now, who travels around Africa, is telling you that, yo, it's so hard to move from one country to another country because people are so argumentative or against each other, even in Africa. It's easier to go from Africa to the United States just to go to another part of Africa than to go from like a Tanzania to a South Africa or something like that. And this is the number one traveling African YouTuber telling you this? And you believe that the narrative of history isn't in play when Black Americans go somewhere and they use one or two incidents to describe the whole thing? It's the same thing in Colombia. Correction. It's the same thing in Medellin. It's the same thing in Thailand. It's the same thing in Russia. It's the same thing in Asia. It's the same thing around the world because that's the baseline of history. It's the baseline. So, yeah. One wonderful travel says your Bay Area roots are showing. It's crazy. I do got family in the Bay Area, so you guys, you know, family there. I'm from Newark, New Jersey for certain, but I do got family in the Bay Area. Shout out to David H. Jones. He says, "Do you think it's more a Medellin issue versus a Colombia issue? 1,000%. Like, will this deter you from going to Cali or Barranquilla? Never. Again, one thing I try to tell people is that in life, things are going to change. You have to plan in advance for things to change. I'm on the borderline of not certain if I'm going to tell people when I have a kid in Colombia or if I have a kid in Colombia or not. The reason why is because when you have a kid in Colombia, it is easier for you to get a citizenship and a residency and less likely for them to kick you out because you're supporting the kid. But at the same token, if you have a kid in Colombia, they can use that against you to try to get money out of you. So it's like I'm on the borderline of telling people if I do have a kid in Colombia, if I do whenever I do have a kid, or if I do have a kid, because if you do, then it invites a lot of other stuff. But it also stops you from being deported for the most part. It also stops them from turning you around for Medellin. But it could be a cash grab too. So would I ever stop going to Cali or Barranquilla? Most likely no. But I want to wait till Medellin and get some things right before I head back there because I can read the room. I'm not afraid, but I can read the room. And it's that thin line that a lot of people miss. Pete said, passport privilege is Flyboy Waves on fire right now. I appreciate that, man. Wonder Travels, he got family all through the Bay. Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Your content is respectful of the countries. Okay. Yes. True Divine, 1,000%. My content is respectful, and it's just from my perspective, and not doesn't mean that doesn't mean nothing really. If I go to Medellin and they want to get me going, I'm going. It is. Well, until I pull the Trump card out and say, hey, but it could be that way. However, once here's what people don't understand the concept of sometimes. If a country sees that you're making money, even if it's not in that country, and the country sees that you're making money off of their country, there are going to be people who are not going to like that. Whether you make it in their country or you make it outside of your country, but it's based on something in their country, there are going to be people who do not like that. And countries' governments don't have to really go by your rules. They don't have to go by the world rules or United States rules. So let's get it off of Colombia for a minute, and let's say you're going to go to Ghana. And Ghana's like, oh, you're making money doing tourism over here in Ghana. But We can't kick you out for that, so we'll find something else to kick you out for. And they do. And you're like, wait, but I didn't do that either. It doesn't matter. You have, as a non-citizen, you have no rights to that country. If you own property, maybe they give you a little bit more rights, but there's no guarantee. Now, if you have a kid, it's a little different. But if you own property, they might just say, you know what? We might let you own property now, and then a month later, we'll do what Thailand says. Nobody in the United States can own land in our country. What you gonna do? You gonna complain to the United States? You're not gonna do nothing. It's not their country. You're gonna try to go get somebody, like a lawyer or somebody, to fight the cause. The lawyer's not bigger than the government. Again, common sense isn't that common. But I don't blame people. I don't blame people. I just try to teach the future people to read the room and understand the difference between fear-mongering and reading the room. Reading the room, for all intents and purposes, means understand what's happening or see what's behind the thing. Like, try to see what is the overall thought process of something. Even if they're not coming out and saying, yo, we don't really want people making money off of YouTube, off of showing our women. Even if they're not saying that, understand that if you show women and you make money, they might let it go. But if you got a page that says, hey, you come over here, I'm gonna introduce you to some people, or come to our party, or come to our event, and it's gonna cost money to go in our event, and we're gonna bring you the women. Dog, can you not read the room? Can you not read the room? That's what's getting you. It's gonna get you jammed up every time. Right now, it's gonna get you jammed up every time. Right now in Colombia, maybe next time in Kenya. Read the room. It's gonna get you jammed up. Yes, you may make a little bit of money, but is it worth it? Is it worth it? I don't think so. I like Medellin. Medellin is my second favorite part, and second favorite place to be in Colombia right now. But is it worth it to go to Medellin, to enjoy myself for a weekend, and hope that they don't ban me? So now I can't go back to Barranquilla, to my apartment in Barranquilla. I can't go back to the late to my I mean, I can't go back to Bogota. I can't go back and hang out with the models in Bogota. I can't go back to Santa Marta and hang out with I mean, I can't go with my little woman. I can't go back to San Andreas and enjoy the black people of San Andreas, all because I wanted to spend a weekend in Medellin, knowing that it's something going on right there right now. Read the room, yo. If you wasn't invited, don't ask to go. Don't ask to go. Travel POV, what up? One of the travel says, wake 'em up, fly boy. Dane BMP, I've been to Kenya. It's about 98% white tourists and a mix of Americans and Europeans, maybe 1% black tourists. 1%. Nvidia says, I've been to Kenya many times. There is not that many brothers over there. Dudes just hating because they're throwing money around and the women be choosing. Shout out to Interstate Money. He says, salute, what up? Nairobi is a vibe. Nvidia says, Nairobi is a vibe. Different tribes of women and their beauty characteristics are addictive. I like, okay, when I went to Ghana, the different types of chocolate I seen, man, I can get it. Dan BMP. Even in Ghana, when I went there, was more Asian male tourists than black I ever saw. Yeah, there was. Not only is there more Asian tourists, there's more Asian expats. There's more, and I don't understand this yet. I haven't really done a geographical tracing to understand how this is possible. There are far more Indians than black Americans in Ghana. My opinion. And I was at an event. Shout out to the brother from the Chi-Town. Shout out to I forgot his name. Dang, I can't think of it right now. Shout out to the brother from Chi-Town, start with a J. But he throws an event. He had jerk chicken. He had jerk soul was his restaurant. He throws an event in Ghana where all the diaspora from Black America go there and they have an event. Matter of fact, I could talk about it or I could show you guys the event. And I think showing you guys the event is because we're on the main screen. I can show you guys the event. Let me share the event with you guys. Give me a second. Because I think this is a point, y'all. Again, I tell people when I go places, I do a lot of research and I try to really like go into, into the detail of the places I go, whether it's the culture, whether it's the people. again, my daughter's Ghanaian. So my daughter's being Ghanaian, or she's black and Ghanaian, I'm black. So going to Ghana, you know, I was deep in the culture. Colombia. I can't. Again, I'm so cautious about Colombia, right, and saying certain things. But let me see. Let's get to Ghana. Hold up. Let's get to Ghana real quick, y'all. Where's Ghana? Where's Ghana? Hold a second. Let me share the screen for you guys so you guys can see. Hold up. Let me share the screen so you guys can see. A lot of places, seen a lot of faces. Where is Ghana at, bro? Oh, I'm missing Ghana. It's probably one of the first ones. There you go, right there. Yep. View playlist. Let's go to playlist. I think it's right here. All right. Share screen. All right. One second. I'm trying to get to the beginning of this. Let's get to him right. All right. All right, we go here. All right. We'll play this in the background while I talk about it. Again, when I went to Ghana, I was able to find a diaspora of black people and Ghanaians who came together and brought something that was amazing together. Because of the Jerk Soul Diaspora Awards. And what I realized is that while every country is going to have its people who don't want a certain people there or have it based on the history, there's going to be a group of people who are trying to do something. There's going to be a group of people who are trying to make something happen. But you got to understand, if you are not connected to these people and you trying to go somewhere, they're going to treat you the way history has always treated black people. Now, I know you're going to say, but they're black too. There's a difference, y'all. I'm telling you there's a difference. And that's why a lot of African nations have issues with each other. Again, I wouldn't just be saying this for myself. I'm going on what the top traveling YouTuber of Africa has said as he traveled around the nation. I'm telling you that. That's what I'm telling you. And again, this is the brother right here who throws the event. I'm gonna show you real quick. This is the brother. I just want to get to him. The brother that throws the event. Who used to own Jerk Soul from Chicago. Again, y'all. It's just again. I think Dr. Umar was there. A couple other people was there. I just want to show you guys the crowd so you guys can see how big the event was. And the different type of speakers they had. Different type of people from all over the United States and mixed with the Ghanaian people. Again, it's sad, and I don't want to make this too depressing about it, but it's sad, and it's going to freeze up a little bit. But it's sad that it's like, as United States citizens, we are going to always, as a black or minority United States citizen, especially black, we are going to always have a target on our back when we go places with economic means, because we go against the history of what has always been around the world. Whether you go to India, a lot of them look down on black people. Whether you go to different parts of Africa, they don't see themselves as the most wealthiest people or the most richest people in the nation, in the different countries. Whether you go to Colombia, whether you go to Canada, it doesn't matter. We're going to always have a target on our back. So if they could take one person, pull them in the front of the crowd and say, yo, look at this person. He came to our country. This passport bro came to our country and he tried to film these women naked. Or look at this guy. He came to Medellin and he tried to make money off of inviting women and introducing them to guys from his country. Why give him an easy target? Because for a lot of us, and that's what people will say what we do when we create videos, but for a lot of us, is bigger than just us. It's bigger than just me. It's a bigger purpose. I've been creating videos on YouTube since 2009. I'm going on 17 years in November. I've been traveling to Colombia since 2019. I've been traveling around the world since I was 18 years old, even within the United States. After I'm gone, I got a whole story that's been showed that gives hope to all the people afterwards. I can't imagine living and knowing that I found out about all these places around the world. I found out about, hold on, we're gonna go into Colombia, y'all. I found out about the second place I like the most, second country I like the most in the world, Colombia. And I found out the possibilities. I found out the possibilities when I go to Colombia, what I could do, the fun I can have, the great people I can meet, the great entertainment I can do. I found out about all the possibilities. And just because me living my real life, I can get in trouble and I cannot be invited back. That means I'm not supposed to share with the world. I can't live like that, y'all. I'm 42 years old. Most people die by 75. Most black men die by 72. I got about 30 more years if I'm lucky. I got 30 more years to get as much content, to get as much stuff as I possibly can to show you guys and show the people who come after me, not just my kids, not just my kids' kids, not just my great-great-grandkids, but to show many generations. And you think I'm gonna stop posting because there's a risk that I might not be able to do it for a couple months or a year or 10 years or 5 years? No. I'm going to show you my real life. But one thing I don't do is, the reason why I don't accept money, the reason why I can't do donations, I don't do donations. The reason why I don't organize boat parties, I don't organize mansion events, I don't organize group meetups, I don't do any of that stuff, because I want the country to see that, yo, if you kicking me out, it's gonna be because I show my real life and I ain't asked for a dime for nobody to share the world with them, to create the black man's God. I ain't make no money. I ain't make no money hustling in your country. I ain't make no money doing this. I ain't make no money off of selling women or introducing women. I ain't do none of that. All I did was show my real life, and I could live on that. I could die on that hill. And the issue is that a lot of people want to knock people for that, and I see it so much. I see people in the chat, not this chat, but other chats, like, yo, you just sharing all this stuff with the world. You shouldn't share it with the world. You should keep it secret. Cool. Can you imagine if, no offense, can you imagine if all the people who used to travel in like the military before we had the internet would have been able to share all that information back with people around the world and people around in the United States, how much further we would be as a people? Nah, bro. They gonna get this work. Y'all. They gonna get this work. Let me get to your comments, y'all. Again, I don't want to make this a long live. We're gonna end this live soon. I'm gonna get to y'all comments though. No, we got a couple more conversations. We're gonna switch off of this conversation right here, and we're gonna get to the other conversation about in the States and jobs, because I want to make sure I spread this conversation out. Let me just stop sharing this. I'm gonna answer. I'm gonna get a couple of more comments, and we're gonna get to the jobs part and what's the name part. Let me see. Where do we end at? Shout out to Fly-ish Only. Hey, yo, what's going on, man? And me having been speaking about that. Okay, let me see. Kung Fu, with all due respect, they're talking about each other. Okay. Flyboy definitely do. Yeah, I definitely do my research. A1 Day One King G Dreams. Riley Joe says, I want to cop a condo in Osu and have it manage it for Airbnb. I like that idea. I really like the idea of copping a condo in Osu and at a reasonable price. Nothing really big. I like that idea. It's just that I'm not retired yet. I got 8 more years before I can retire. And I think if you want to cop a condo in Osu, you got to be there for a while too. He said, Riley Joe says, already have residency there. That's what it is. Where in Asia you own? Okay. All right, let me get to your comments. We get back. All right, y'all. Oh, he owns in Bangkok. That's cool. All right, y'all. So here's the thing, yo. Now that we switch off, let's switch off of Colombia real quick. I know that got a lot of people worked up. Let's switch off of Colombia real quick, and let's go to if you wasn't invited, don't ask to go. There are a lot of people in the States who are trying so hard to be in a relationship because that's what they were taught, that they don't understand there's a lot of stuff you don't have to put up with when you go other places. And then you have people who want to deter you from going other places because they themselves cannot fight how they was raised to want to stay in this relationship. There's nothing wrong with black women in America. There's nothing wrong with white women in America. There's nothing wrong with Latin American, Indian, Asian, or any women in the United States. What's wrong with the United States are the laws. The laws that allow women in the United States to get away with a lot of stuff that most people and women around the world are not. Can I blame the woman, black woman? Can I blame the white woman? Can I blame the Latina? Can I blame the Asian woman for taking advantage of something that is in the law book? No. If you want to blame them, then there's a lot of stuff that we as black people, or we as people, have to take account for that we can do that might not be the most safest thing or best thing. So am I going to blame a black woman who grew up in poverty, who didn't have a father, who found out that, if I have a kid in the United States by a guy and I get married to him, not only can I get alimony, but I can also get child support, and I may never have to work again? Well, that sounds like a hell of a deal. If you're a man and we could do that with women, we would do the same thing. But but to blame the person for using the laws to their advantage means you don't understand the laws. People say that women around the world are all the same. They are. But what makes them different is how they react to the laws that are made in their country. So when we go to Colombia, or you go to Brazil, or you go to Thailand, and normally to get a woman to sleep with you in the United States, you have to spend time, you have to spend money, and you have to have personality. But you can go to Thailand and you can pay $30. This is not for promotion, YouTube. This is just a blatant truth that is a factual thing. This is not for promotion. This is not for telling you guys what you should do. This is just giving you the truth on life, on the world. You can go to Brazil and give a woman that's a model in the best place in the world $50, and she'll do whatever you say. But that's because the laws permit it in these countries. In the United States, it does not. Okay, it does in Las Vegas. But the rate of what you have to spend is something that most people can't afford, especially in this economy. So to blame the people who are going to a place to involve themselves in legal activities that you yourself deem legal is your prerogative. Y'all thought I was gonna say that that's a bad thing? Y'all thought I was gonna say, don't blame Colombia or blame Brazil or blame Thailand? No. That's their prerogative. You got to understand, if you're not a citizen of that place, you got to go by whatever rules they set for you, not what rules they set for their country. So, getting back to it, there are a lot of people who don't want to leave the prison they know for the possibility of a life that may be better for them. And there are a lot of people who want you to be stuck in that prison with you. That's why it's important that there's people like myself, people like Kings of Dreams, people like Zoom, people like Barbaro TV, people like BMT, people like all these people that's on YouTube right now showing you different ways around the world where you can create a life. Regardless of if a person thinks what you're doing is bad or Pookie or Ray Ray-ish, or it's messing up the culture, it's more important that you show what's possible to other people, because a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know. We're gonna go to the last point after I get to your comments, and the last point is gonna be about jobs and job security and what's going on with a lot of people. A lot of people losing their jobs. A lot of AI taking over jobs, and how, again, if you wasn't invited, don't ask to go. If you're relying on a job your entire life to keep you whole, without creating a side hustle, without creating an entrepreneurship, without copying real estate, without doing internships, then you're only bound to fail. You're bound to fail, or you're bound to work for the rest of your life. So we're going to get to that part. I just want to get to your comments because we're going to end this live soon. We're almost at an hour. I think we're a little bit over an hour. Shout out to 916. What up? What up? What up? What up? Nick says fresh. What up? What up? What up? What up? Riley Joe. Oh, everybody. Okay, talking to each other. All right. Yeah, it's been over a year, decade. Okay. I know it was y'all. I'm trying to get you your comments real quick. Jay Diggs. What up? Salute. Jay Diggs says we don't have accountability as Black people. That word is tough. Hey, Jay Diggs, that word is tough. The reason why that word is tough is because it's not. I don't feel as though it's the fact that we don't have accountability as Black people. What I feel is as though it is that one Black person cannot make another Black person take accountability because we don't all have the same morals and principles. For example, there are YouTubers out here who don't take care of their kids, who travel the world, who don't see their kids, who are away from their kids for 2-3 months, who don't call. How am I supposed to make that person take accountability for not being in their kid's life while their kid is still young? Because I do. Because my son lives with me. Because my daughter lives in my other house. Because I see my son and my daughter at least once a week. I can't do that because their values are not my values. I would never force my values on somebody else. That's why when some people say, as Black people or as people, we don't take accountability, it's impossible to hold somebody else accountable for something that they may not even believe in. I've been working at my same job for 24 years in November. I don't want to say my job because I'm going to get in trouble. But I've also created a $1 million real estate investment portfolio. I've created a $1 million real estate investment portfolio. My job is changing right now where a lot of people are getting a lot less hours and a lot of people are not working for the company anymore because they had to part ways. I didn't look at my coworker and say, yo, you should hold yourself accountable because you spent 30 years here, 35 years here, longer than me, and you ain't never get no houses. You ain't never invest in no stock. You ain't never bought no passive, you never bought nothing that gets you passive income. And now you worried about them giving less hours? I can't hold my coworker accountable because we don't have the same principles and morals. So that's one thing that comes up in the community. And to make it worse, unfortunately, then you have people, and it's not a bad thing or a good thing. You have people who profit off of pointing out the bad or quote unquote bad actors in our community. And they think that they're helping the community, but you're not. For example, no offense to anyone, O'Shea Duke Jackson did a video where he pointed out NYC the future. NYC the future has some issues going on right now. He then mixed that video with the Kenyan video where he introduced Rello in his situation he had in Kenya. Cool. I believe people think that because you point out the flaws in the community that you're in and you put them on a big screen, the people of these communities are going to say, look, all of them are not bad. Some of them point the guys out that are doing bad. No, that's not what happens. If you do your research, what happens is that now these communities take these exact characters that you pointed out and they use them as a representation of what your community stands for. When they didn't know it in NYC, they didn't know Arello, or they may have forgot about Arello. But you took all this stuff and you put it together for the views. Is it a good or a bad thing? It's not a good or bad thing. It's whatever you want to do. But if you think that you're helping, you're not. You're just giving them easy targets to point on the whole community, when that's just a portion of the community that happens. But again, that's something you learn with time, interacting with different communities, educating yourself on history. So that was something I would never do. I don't speak on NYC's business. I don't speak on Rello's business. I don't speak on anybody's business but my own. Because back in the days, in the United States, in the South, there was black people who pointed out the runaway slaves. Like, look at that black man running away. Get him, master. And they would get a bone. And that slave would die. And they would get a extra helping of food. And they would kill that whole slave's family. And that slave thought he was doing a good thing because he pointed out the slave that wasn't acting like the rest of the slaves. Cool. I'm not knocking anybody for doing what they do. I just would never do it because I know the history. But again, you can't hold anybody accountable other than yourself, because everybody has different morals and principles. I showed you guys many ways. Let me see your comments and we're going to end this live, y'all, because it's crazy, bro. It's crazy. Let me see. You don't want David Jones says you don't realize most women who get their child support don't get enough even to cover their expenses. The child support left to live off of basis the percentage. The difference is, David Jones, a lot of women who get child support, they're living above their means. It's not that they don't get enough to cover their expenses, because the government makes up for a significant proportion to live on their expenses. Trust me, I know. I've never been on child support, but I know a lot of women who have put guys on child support that I used to bang, and they used to tell me all the details. A lot of them make enough money to raise a child and to live a stable life, but that's not what they want. They want a higher lifestyle, so they require more money, and that's why a lot of them go back to ask for more money. But honestly, if the government is paying for your house, is subsidizing your house, that's saving you $15,000 to $17,000 a month. While you might not see that as money, that's money. That's income that you don't have to spend. So now you save $17,000. So again, there a lot of when you say that it's not well to live off of, it's based on the lifestyle they choose to live. Can they go out and drive the Mercedes? Or some of them you can, but the majority ain't gonna be driving the Mercedes. The majority ain't gonna be having to having the newest clothes, the fanciest stuff. But at the same time, the majority of them ain't got to work 60 hours to make it, like a lot of people that have regular wages right now do. A lot of them ain't got to work 45 hours and 2 jobs just to make it. They could work 1 job for 30 hours a week, and they have all that time to themselves. Kings of Dream says, not true. Why would we prideful men? Why would we take advantage of women's money? Again, I think the pridefulness of men is Kings of Dreams. I think the pridefulness of men is only because we're able to make the money we can without being in a struggle the way women are. If we had the opportunity as men to do the same thing that women can do on a majority basis, we would. We definitely would. If the shoes flipped and women were making the most money in the United States, and all a man had to do was marry a woman and then break up with her to get half their money, we would. Because it's not the people, it's the laws of the country that make people react the way they do. Pocket Belly, what up, what up, what up? Having kids with a woman abroad never gets married. Usually float bonds. Having kids with a woman abroad never get married. Using float bonds as a checking account. Investing. Oh, he's talking a lot of stuff, man. And in 15 years, that's what it is, man. America is a plantation. They want you to work until you die like your ancestors and slaves. That's another topic. That's another topic for another day. NVIDIA. It's another topic for another day. David H. Yeah, a lot of 9-to-5 opportunities are dying. Content creation, entrepreneurial, and labor trades will be among the winning moves. Ownership of intellectual property. Ownership of intellectual property. King of Dreams says facts. Fatherhood is the key. I get good. We get into the end of the conversation, y'all. Technology will never stay down. Just pauses. I deleted it. It was confusing. Okay. They try to tell people. NVIDIA says they try to tell people to invest in the S&P and broad index and get 15%. I'd rather take the added risk in the technology sector. Added risk is cool. 33 now. What up? What up? King of Dream says my bro King. Just a little something like, man. Yeah, Rella went too far in Nairobi, and future, I wish you stay away from Nairobi, my man. Again, y'all, I don't speak on anybody else's business, man. Shout out to Midwest in the building, yo. I don't speak on anybody else's business. I don't knock anybody who does. I mean, topics gonna get talked about. It's better, I guess, people in our community talk about it than people outside our community talk about it. But me personally, I understand life, for me at least, and I would never do that because it's too much stuff that we've been fighting in history, y'all. There's too much stuff we've been fighting in history to not understand that the more I point out the negative stuff in the community I'm in, the more negative the world looks at me. Listen to what I'm saying. The more negative imagery I point out in the community that I'm in, the more negative the world looks at me. Now, me personally, anybody that sees me and connects me to something else, I just choose not to be around. If I go to Argentina and I know Argentina has a history of black people, I know for a fact that there's a chance I might run into some issues. That's not based on a person knowing me. So why would I go? Because I want to prove myself wrong. I want to prove other YouTubers wrong. I want to say, hey, they all went to Argentina. I went there. I didn't get no racism. No. Oh, I want to prove everybody wrong. Oh, I can go to Medellin as a content creator and not get in trouble. No. Why? There's no point, man. Again, y'all, I'm gonna end this with the saying I said 1,000 times on this live, y'all. Almost 100 times on this live. If you wasn't invited, don't ask to go. I appreciate everybody for joining the live, man. It's your boy FRE $H Fresh at the Flyboy Way. That's THEFLYBOYWAY. Don't ask why. Check out the channel, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, y'all. I'm out.